You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, that was fun. I thought we had a comfortable wire-to-wire dominant win there for the Clippers, but it got shaky down the stretch. Hello and welcome once again to the Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, Locked On Sports LA on the YouTube channel, and thank you for listening on Locked On Clippers podcast feed, wherever you find your podcasts. I once again am Pete Fox, new to the Locked On family. Happy to be a part of the family. Covered sports in LA for ESPN Radio from 2007 till about 2015. Spent a lot of nights over at Staples Center, which is now, of course, Crypto.com Arena, covering these very Clippers. I also worked for NBC Sports Radio covering sports on a national basis starting in about 2014, 15, in that neighborhood. But I've covered just about everything in Los Angeles, and I've enjoyed covering the Clippers in a variety of different incarnations over the years. And this team that they have put together right now is a lot of fun to watch. The future is bright, as they say. They are 100% healthy and 100% rolling right now. Their 21st win. They're now 21-12. They have the best record since December 1st. They are 12-2 since the start of December. 17, make it 18-5 over their last 23. And this game started off in Phoenix with the Clippers and Suns trading blows back and forth. But the Clippers ultimately grabbed the lead fairly comfortably in the first quarter when they went on a nice 16-2 run. And from there, we watched this and said, well, with them being healthy and the depth, that they're just going to cruise. It's not going to be too difficult from here. It'll be an easy walk in the park tonight for the Suns or the Clippers against the Suns in Phoenix. And, at halftime, huge lead, 70-51. They padded the lead in the third, up by 23. And then, Kawhi Leonard started scoring, as did James Harden. Kawhi Leonard was 0 for in the first quarter, which he's done that a lot recently, where he hasn't done a whole lot of anything, just kind of out there, not scoring. And then, starts hitting, starts firing, finished the night with 30, that's no points in the first quarter, played 40 minutes. Paul George, another huge night with 33 points. There are just so many things in this game. And with this Clippers team right now to look at and enjoy and just soak in and feel really good about if you're a Clippers fan. They came into this one. Tyronn Lue said before the game that from the defensive perspective, they need to focus on the perimeter, but not overguard the Suns at the perimeter, because we know that they can shoot from beyond the arc. And let me mention, I don't know if I've said it yet, but KD, Kevin Durant, was out for this one, but Booker was not. Booker played, and Booker can fill it up, as we know. But he said we have to be careful to not overguard at the perimeter and allow them to penetrate into the lane and have easy buckets. Well, Clippers did a great job of listening to Tyronn Lue's instruction before the game. And it came into this one feeling like the Clippers start games rather, they kind of ease themselves into games. They don't get too excited if they're down. They don't get too excited if they're up. And this was yet another occasion of that. But I thought they were playing defense really tight right out of the gate. And it did feel like this team wanted to make a statement against the Suns in Phoenix. Of course, let's not forget, Suns eliminated the Clippers last year in the first round of the playoffs in 5 games. So I felt like the Clips are really trying to make a statement against this team, especially when they're a little bit down with KD out. The Clippers bench was a little bit off tonight, 23 points, and that's been one of their strong points of late. But tonight it was all about the starters. Again, Paul George with 33, including 5 threes. Kawhi had 4 threes, part of 30 on the night, perfect at the line, going 8 for 8. Terrence Mann, a big first quarter. As it says right there on today's show, Terrence Mann with a very hot start, 12 points. He came out just running and gunning. He had the first 5, making some threes, and then didn't score again for the rest of the night, which I found to be kind of surprising. But this team is so deep, it's okay. They don't necessarily need something from everybody all night. But again, the five starters all in double figures except Zubats, but Zubats, is not intended to score all that much. Another big game for him, just taking up space in the lane, making clutch rebounds, making clutch plays. The numbers do not indicate how effective Zoo was in this game for the Clippers. And you could say the same thing about Daniel Tice. 6 points. Zoo finished with 6 as well. But they don't need to put up numbers. They don't even need to have rebounds and things like that. They just need to take up space and impose their will down there in the lane. And it's exactly what they did tonight. Westbrook also not a big night statistics wise, but a lot of energy, keeping the team motivated, having fun as he's been doing of late. And Norman Powell, 11 points, but none more clutch than a 3 late in the game. James Harden also clutched down the stretch. Didn't have a huge night, finished with 22, but some clutch baskets down the stretch when this thing got tight. And we'll get into that, how the Clippers almost let this one slip away, coming up right after this momentary break. All right, I have to do one thing here before I start talking about Gametime. There it is. Gametime, by the way, is our title sponsor for this episode. It's brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Now, if you're looking to take the kids to a game this new year, it's one of those things on your to-do list. I don't want to call it a resolution because it shouldn't be something that you do just once, but maybe it is. And maybe it's just something that you have on the refrigerator as a to-do. Say, I want to take the kids to a game or to a concert or something and make some memories here early in 2024. Well, a lot of people are apprehensive when it comes to using an app to buy tickets. Well, you shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event on Gametime. It's fast, it's easy, and it's a nice way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy, which is huge for me because I have a wife that is fairly picky when it comes to going to concerts and events. And, we could be one section off or one row off. And she's like, these seats aren't any good. Then you're, one seat up. And I love doing research. So this kind of feature for me is huge, where you can see what the view is from your seats. And that's what Gametime offers you. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. Never been to SoFi? Well, SoFi is unbelievable. Even though I've never been there, I just have heard from a lot of people that it's awesome. I saw some great deals on Chiefs Chargers tickets this weekend for just $32. If you've never been to SoFi and you just want to go experience it, that'd be a good way to do it. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets and low prices guaranteed. All right, Clippers with a 131-122 win over the Suns in Phoenix. That felt like it should be a whole lot more than that. They were up by 23 and really just rolling along. And this is one of the things right now with the Clippers that has me just, I don't want to say worried, but as I watch games where they're dominating and everyone's playing well and everything's going right, I'm like, when's it going to come unraveled? When are they going to start to come back to earth? Are they going to be able to keep their foot on the throat? And of course, that's exactly what happened tonight. I don't know if they get bored. Probably. I mean, that's a fair assumption to make. And it's not a strange feeling for professional sports teams, especially in basketball, with the 3-point line and the way opponents that have a player like Devin Booker on their squad can fill it up from beyond the arc, right? Because you just make points back in a big hurry. So I wasn't terribly surprised, but I was a little worried. I was a little apprehensive down the stretch there that this wasn't going to turn out the way that we thought it was, with a dominant wire-to-wire win. It was wire-to-wire, but it wasn't dominant there, in the fourth quarter. But ultimately, to win it by 9 is it's a decent win, I guess. It's not what we were hoping for, but it did make it a little bit more exciting. If they won by 20 and just kept rolling the way that they had all night long, maybe we get a little bored and turn the channel. But I did enjoy the fact that they, when it got a little nail biting down the stretch there, they were able to just hammer that final nail in the coffin. They did, as I said, get it down to, I believe 7 right there late in the game. The Clippers win it by 9. Amir Coffey played just 13 minutes and had 3 points. Didn't have quite the impact off the bench. Going into the game, there was, the pregame question of, will the Clippers outscore the Suns bench? And I believe it was Jackson there, who's on the pregame with Jeannie Salasco, kind of said no, and then he reverted back to yes. I didn't actually quite understand what his real answer was. His initial response was no, and that was the right answer, as they only scored 23, and I believe the Suns bench finished with 34, 35 in that neighborhood. So, they could use a little bit more off the bench, but it's not necessarily imperative for them to win games when the starters are all in double figures. James Harden, who, by the way, I don't know if you caught it or not, but his kicks were ASU colors, which is where he went to school. And of course, I thought that was super cool. He looked really nice tonight and had another big game distributing the ball. I had him as part of my pick combination on the PrizePicks app, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. I don't know if I was victorious with that selection yet, because it also included Anthony Davis in the Lakers game with his rebounds. So Harden I had him for points, assists, and rebounds. The number was 31.5, and he passed that up rather comfortably. 22 points, 11 assists, and a total of 5 rebounds. Kawhi Leonard, who scored no points in the first quarter, finished with 30, hitting big threes, going 9 of 16 from the floor and 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. He had 8 rebounds, and we'll talk about him in superlatives tonight, which we'll do in the next segment, which will happen in a couple of minutes. The superlatives for tonight, we picked different ones, just like in the high school yearbook. We're going to do it in the third segment every night. The superlatives tonight are the coolest, the best student, and the shyest. So we went a little different direction tonight, but a comfortable win for the Clippers. And I think with this team being 100% healthy, you have to have a ton of confidence. At the same time, maybe this is me being a tad bit pessimistic. I don't want to get too over the moon with excitement as to, how good they are and how good they can be, because reality is always just lurking back there. Like, hey, don't forget about reality. Let's not get too cocky. Let's not get too comfortable because anything can happen. They can get hurt, and I don't want to put it out into the universe. I don't want to put the broadcaster's jinx, as Brian Seaman likes to say, Clippers announcer. But I can't overlook it. I can't forget about it. I can't pretend like it's not something that's just hanging out there. Anything could happen. Somebody's going to get hurt. Hopefully it's nobody that's all that important, like maybe it's Daniel Tice or something. I don't want to, jinx him or anything, but I don't want anyone to get hurt. I'd like for them to stay healthy into the playoffs and make a real deep run with having a good opportunity to win a championship. But there's something is going to happen. I don't believe that it's going to be any sort of consternation by the guys that have presented that in the past, like James Harden or Russell Westbrook or any of those guys. I think we're good on that. I think these guys have found their roles, and I think they're comfortable with those roles. And I think that they are having fun, which is a huge factor when it comes to playing solid basketball or any sport for that matter. They're enjoying their roles. I've always said when it comes to a job, especially in this business, if you aren't comfortable with your role, find a different one. And the most important thing to being successful in any job is knowing your role and accepting it. And I really feel like all of these guys know their role and, more importantly, are accepting it. Those two being James Harden and Russell Westbrook. They're getting along and having fun. And Westbrook is not playing a ton of minutes tonight, just 18, but he had 6 points and was a big factor, not on the scoreboard or in the stat sheet, but just with energizing his teammates. And I think that is a huge, huge thing for this team. So we'll take another quick break and come back and wrap this thing up and do superlatives after this. All right. We're going to talk about, are we talking about FanDuel here? FanDuel. No, it's not PrizePicks. That's who I made my selections with tonight, but we're going to talk about FanDuel as soon as I can find that thing called an overlay, because I got to get that in there. There it is. All right. FanDuel. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 wager, that's my wager, $5. I'm comfortable with that. My friends make fun of me. Why do you waste your time with $5? I'm like, I don't know. I get the same enjoyment out of betting 5 as I do 50. As a matter of fact, when I bet $5 and I lose, I'm not all mad. And if I lose 50, I can't sleep at night. My wife's like, what's wrong with you? You can't bet anymore. Stop betting. So yeah, 5, 10, that's very comfortable for me. As I said, right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bucks in $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet. Live, same game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and a whole lot more. Same game parlays is a lot of fun too. I like, betting in the middle of the game. That's a whole lot of fun if you can find, a niche or a momentum swing that's going in the direction that you think it is. And if you can sniff something out, making those in-game parlays is a whole lot of fun. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, final segment of the Locked On Postcast. Thanks for watching us on Locked On Sports LA on our YouTube channel. That's one way to find us, a very easy way on the YouTube channel. You just go to Locked On Sports Los Angeles and then look under live, and we'll be there right after every game. We're going to do postcasts right after the Clipper game all season long. And of course, if you want to listen in the car, you can do that wherever you find your podcasts on the Clipper podcast feed, Spotify, Apple, all of those things. We are there. The third segment always starts with superlatives. So tonight, as I mentioned, our third segment, the superlatives I have selected for tonight. And when you've got a team like the Clippers playing the way they are, it's really hard to find just 3. I could do a superlative for almost any guy in the starting lineup or any guy on the team for that matter. But I just selected 3 tonight, and they're a little different than what we have normally done. We're starting with the coolest player. Then we'll go to the best student. And, that's like the valedictorian of this game, if you will. And then the shyest, who is just that person who is, quiet as a mouse, very hard to crack that shell and get to know them in depth. And that's Kawhi Leonard as a person, but that was not him tonight on the basketball floor. But first, I will go with the coolest guy. Who was the coolest guy out there? And by that, I mean a guy that didn't seem to be working that hard in this game, and just everything he did, for the most part, went his way. And that would be Paul George for me. Paul George, his numbers weren't great as far as field goal percentage, but he did lead the way with 33 points in 37 minutes. He was 8 of 14, so over 50%. You can't ever complain about being over 50%. He did have 5 threes, but more than anything for me, early in the game, I think he had 17 in the first quarter. He was just hitting everything, and it didn't even seem to affect him. He wasn't sweating. He wasn't, working hard to get open. He would just catch and shoot, and it was going in, and it was fun to watch. So the coolest player, coolest kid of the night was Paul George, who finished with 33. Best student. Now, this to me is related to the pregame that Ty Lue talked about, the speech that he had about playing defense, guarding the perimeter, and allowing the Suns to shoot from outside, but, not penetrate. So not overguard the perimeter. So play defense at the perimeter, but also play defense in the paint and not allow the Suns to penetrate. So my player tonight, who was the best student of playing defense, was Kawhi Leonard. Now, Kawhi Leonard also played great offense, scoring 30 points in just 3 quarters, 9 of 16. Again, over 50% is never bad. He had 4 threes and was perfect from the free throw line. But he just played defense tonight very well, picking up loose balls, guarding very intensely. And we all know he had 8 rebounds. We all know that Kawhi Leonard is a good defender. There's no question about Kawhi Leonard playing defense. He's not one of those offensive basketball players that is afraid to do the work and play defense. But tonight he did a little bit of everything. He had 2 blocked shots, which were huge. Zubats had a couple of blocked shots as well. He had 2 steals. So Kawhi Leonard listened to his coach and played basketball on both ends of the floor, playing defense, playing offense, again, finishing with 30 points. Our best student of the night is Kawhi Leonard. And I would say the shyest player of the night, I was going to go with Kawhi when he scored no points in the first. I thought it might be a slow off night for him, but obviously he picked things up. So our shyest player would be Terrence Mann, who had 12 early in the first quarter, had the first 5, I think it was the first 7 points for the Clippers. Finished with 12 on the night, and that would be it for him. He did not score again. Some of that obviously is on the coach. He only had 23 minutes. Didn't get back out there too much later in the game when some of those other guys started rolling, but he was nowhere to be found after a very big first quarter. And, look, it's not to be overlooked. We cannot forget how important it is to get off to a big start. So I'm not trying to criticize him for not scoring any more points. You sometimes just have to contribute when you can. 12 points is a good night, especially in just 1 quarter. He contributed later, didn't score any points, but he actually played well for the entire 23 minutes he was out there. So even though he was shy on the stat sheet, he was still very effective and crucial to the Clippers in this 131-122 win. Again, the Clippers are 17-5, or make it 18-5 with this win over their last 22, and 13-2 since December 1. That is number 1 in the NBA. Their field goal percentage for the NBA is also number 1 since early in December. Tonight, I haven't thrown these numbers at you yet because I wanted to save them till the very end because they're just so tasty. 42 of 76 from the floor, a 55% night from the floor, and they were 18 of 34 from beyond the arc, 90% at the free throw line, 52% from beyond the arc, and they held the Suns to just 42%. Suns picked things up late, shot 53% from the floor. A lot of that, most of that can be contributed to Devin Booker, who was 11 of 15 with 5 threes and 35 points. Devin Booker is just so fun to watch. He's such a stud, really, really exciting player. And you knew he was going to get that. It wasn't a surprise, but the Clippers did a nice job of keeping Bradley Beal in check. Josef Nurkic also in check, only scored 9 points. Beal had 21 in 41 minutes, but was 7 of 20. So I think that was a crucial factor for them winning this game. They did not let Bradley Beal go wild. They kept him under control. Booker, they said, you get yours because we know you're going to. You know who else I really enjoyed watching? I'm not too familiar with this guy. Is Manute Bol's kid. What's his name? Something Bol. That's a weird name. I don't know if I've ever seen that before other than Steve Stevens, which is a famous fake radio name. Hi, I'm Steve Stevens. Bol. That's his name. Played 19 minutes and scored 14 points, including a couple of threes. Looked just like his dad, but better. He can run the floor, shoot the deep ball, play down low. That was exciting to watch him. But yeah, Devin Booker in 37 minutes had 35 points, and you're not surprised by that. So the one thing that you have to worry about with this team is when KD gets healthy. Because those 3 guys, Beal, Booker, and Durant, are going to be a lot to deal with. Surprisingly, though, this Suns team without Kevin Durant is 4-1. So they're not a bad team. They just ran into a Clippers team right now who is rolling. They've won 4 in a row, fighting to get back to 500 on the road. They're now 7-8, but 21-12 overall. And I believe they're still 4th in the West, which is a good place to be right now as long as they keep winning. They're going to have a busy schedule coming up. They play on Friday in New Orleans, and they play on Sunday and Monday. I believe Lakers are on Monday, so that's going to be a lot of fun too. 131-122 122, the final tonight, as the Clippers dominate the Suns. Again, thanks for watching us here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. And if you can listen in your car or on your phone or whatever, find us wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast. That is it for tonight. We will talk again on Friday, a little bit earlier, because the Clippers are in New Orleans to face the Suns. Enjoy the rest of your week and the weekend. Have a good one. I am Pete Fox. And again, thanks for joining us here on the Locked On Podcast Network and Clippers Postcast.